the code, guys, and I'm going to share it with you. I cracked the code, guys, and I'm going to share it with you. So, a lot of the times, they will not be broken with mentions of like when Paul is preaching, or really any preachings that have to do with you can't cherry pick the law. You have to follow all of the law. There's several scriptures that basically get to that point. Paul is so frustrated with people who are still considering circumcision as a requirement to be a Christian. He's so upset with them that he says, I wish they would go ahead and just mutilate themselves because they're taking it too far. Well, a lot of them won't even respond to that. But I got frustrated enough with this guy who was saying that, pants are sin and women wearing pants are cross-dressing. Like, you mean to tell me if I have on a pair of capris, jewelry, makeup, bracelets, a freaking purse, I'm cross-dressing? I'm trying to be seen as a man? Like, get real. But he was like, well, if you want to wear pants, and that's cross-dressing, so you need to be okay with a man wearing heels and a dress and makeup. And I said, oh, did you know that starting in the 10th century, men wore heels? That's right. It's a historical fact. You can look it up. They started wearing high-heeled shoes to hoist themselves on horses, and by around the 17th century, it was considered a status symbol and a symbol of masculinity. Also, wigs. Men and women wore wigs at the same time. So I guess that's kind of a moot point, but makeup. Men were wearing makeup in the early centuries. Actually, men wore makeup first because they were wearing cold eyeliner in Egypt. So yeah, the next time you have a debate with a Hebrew Israelite who is talking about clothing specifically, use that. I haven't got a single response on anything I said, making my historical points about who wore what first. Because if we're going to say that, well, heels are okay because by modern standards they're accepted, then you have to concede that wearing pants is okay because of the modern standard. It's a difference between wearing men's pants and women's pants. The same difference between a women's robe and a man's robe, or a woman's hat and a man's hat. Yeah. For the Hebrew Israelites, though, I think what might be a better way to spend your time is, instead of trying to teach people to follow the Lord in your way, I think that you might be better off highlighting to people and maybe breaking it down to make it clearer that they're not going to go to heaven because they are not Hebrews. So you should probably, that would be a more efficient use of your time, really, would be to, inform these people that they are wasting their time. Because if it's true and only the Israelites are getting to heaven, then you need to let people know so that they can stop wasting their time and just go and sin it up while they can. So I can't sleep. It's almost, it's 1:30 in the morning. I cannot sleep. And I was just up thinking about these, and I'm going to say all three words strung together. Now, I know I'm light-skinned, but I'm not white. Okay? I'm the opposite racially. Black Hebrew Israelites. Because it is always all three. I have seen a couple more people of the less melanated variety claiming to be Hebrew Israelites and or Torah observant, but it typically comes from black Hebrew Israelites who are typically African American.
All praise to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Shalom to the Holy Elect. This video is going to be a response to how to silence Hebrew Israelites. All right. And in the beginning of this, you saw a little, one short video this individual did. I think her name is Tima Shea or some shit like that. Because you can see that on the second video. Really, I put another clip. This was her right here. You can see her name down at the bottom. Tima Shea, right? So I actually put this snippet too in the video. But I started out with this latest video that she did. And she's basically going on and on about hats and pants, wigs, different shit like that, you know. But I put a second part of this snippets in there of her going back, because this is not the first video she made about us. She was making all kind of videos about the Hebrew Israelites because, let's face it, she's been taken captive by the truth. You know, going against the Israelites. She's wasting the grace period trying to come against the Israelites and the doctrine that we teach. And she all consumed by it. Because you heard her say in the video, she was up till 1:30 in the morning or whatever, and she can't sleep. And the Hebrew Israelites on her mind. She all fucked up. We told you people that, you know, we told you brothers and sisters that these people are losing sleep over this truth. And it'll run you crazy, you know. And that's what's going on with her. Trying to understand. She can't get the understanding. She's just going around in fucking circles. And it's annoying. But, you know, we deal with that. So I wanted to go backwards a little bit, because this is a video I did a month ago. It was entitled Hebrew Israelite Hatred is Growing. And you see here these four individuals' faces. And who do you see on the far right? You see Tima Shea, or Che, whatever her name is. She was one of the people that's showing hatred towards the Hebrew Israelites in her own subtle way. As most of these people, they're all fucked up. So if you want to go and watch this video, if you haven't seen it, just go back a month on my video on my channel, and you'll find this video. Hebrew Israelite Hatred is Growing. That's what the second part of this video is from, this last portion. And I just put that in there as a teaser. The first part we're going to deal with is the subject matter. Her talking about, she was dealing with some Israelite going back and forth about, you know, obviously probably IUIC or one of the groups that lead with the law. And it was all about women wearing men's clothes and men wearing women's clothes and all of that. Really, she was talking about when an Israelite brother was saying that if a woman wears pants, she's cross-dressing. So let's deal with that a little bit. Because you do got Israelites that lead with the law, and they all wrapped up in it. But that's more than likely a new believer. A guy who thinks that you're going to go to the kingdom of heaven or not based upon how many laws you keep. And it's just not true. And we've told y'all that. We tell everybody that. But these other Israelites, these upstarts, these new groups, these pop-up Israelite camps, and a lot of Israelites has been in the truth for a while. Their leadership has failed them because you haven't properly taught these guys that the laws you keep or don't keep is not what's going to get you into the kingdom. Should we keep the laws? Yes, you should. But the scriptures say that we're rehearsing the righteous acts. Let's read a few scriptures here. Just bear with me here. There's always something going on. All right, so let's get blue letter. So we're going to go to Judges chapter 5, right? I believe it's 5. Judges 5, verse 11. It says, they that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. See, so the places of drawing water represents the places of our captivity, because you have in the scriptures where individuals were known as drawers of water and hewers of wood, right? These were your workforce, your slaves or your servants. So those of us, they that are delivered from the noise of archers, right? It's talking about the elect, delivered from the noise of archers. The noise of archers represent when you hear the nuclear sirens going off because of the missiles are on the way. You see? So that's the noise of the archers. The archers are those that shoot the arrows. The arrows are the nuclear missiles. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water. See? So in the places of slavery of the Israelites who came as slaves, you're going to be delivered from the noise of the archers. There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. So in captivity, we will rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. That's what we would do. right? We're rehearsing the righteous acts. We're not going to be saved by our keeping the law or not. This is Ecclesiastes 7:16. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Right. So you don't want to be over righteous. But the next line comes back and says, bear with me here. Verse 17, be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? So we know that we're going to rehearse the righteous acts, but it's not going to be the thing that saves us. But we don't want to be over righteous about it. But at the same time, don't fool yourself. You should keep the law. Very well. The Christians don't want to hear you say that, because they're used to being told that no matter what they do, however they live, the Most High still loves them. That's just not true. You can't just break the law willy-nilly and think the Lord is going to deal with you, because when you break the law, this is called sin. Let's get that. And this will be a quick video. 1 John 3 and 4. What does it say? Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. So when you break the commandments, you break the law, you commit sin. So it's not a good idea just to be breaking laws, but neither will your keeping of it help you get saved any faster. So which brings us to now, she's going into, since she brought up this stuff about, well, actually, men wore wigs, men wore makeup, men wore heels, and all this different stuff about who wore it first. None of that shit matters. She thinks that she said she cracked the code. You ain't cracked the code. You just cracked your egg yolk head. That's what you did. And really, you need to do something, because, here you are on this video with a bonnet, but on the other two videos, you look like hell. You got a bonnet on here. This video, you look very homely. So you need to do something. Crack the code on fixing yourself up. That's what you need to do, Tima. Crack that code. So when you go into the scriptures and you start talking about the law, sure, women should not wear men's garments and men should not wear women's garments, right? But in this day and age, if a woman wears pants and that's all she got, we're not going to sit here and tell every sister that you got to take all your pants and get rid of them and just wear skirts and wear dresses. Would that be nice? Yes, it'd be better for you if you do that. Not only nice, the law does tell you that, you should be feminine and ladylike. But however, we know that we live in the places of drawing water. Everybody converted at a different pace, so if I see a sister that got pants on, I'm not going to condemn you for that. You see, you shouldn't condemn people for the outer garments or the clothes they wear, as long as she ain't doing too much. You can't see a sister walking around, with a tuxedo on. Now you're going off. You're doing too much. You know the difference between cross-dressing and wearing what you got. Just like with a dude, a brother shouldn't have on no damn dress, But if by chance there's something that's unisex, like a football jersey, and you see a woman with a football jersey on, you ain't gonna get mad about that. Now, if you see a brother with a pink jersey, because they got certain jerseys they made just for women, you shouldn't have that on. But if there's something unisex, like a jacket or, a particular garment, a poncho or whatever, and the opposite sex can fit it also, ain't nobody gonna get mad over that. These jakes that try to beat you over the head with the law, they're being over righteous because they think that this is a contest. This is a righteousness contest, and it's really not. And I'm going to show you that. This is not a righteousness contest, but if you're walking in the spirit, you ain't got to worry about it, because you're going to automatically, you shouldn't want to sin. Deuteronomy 22 and 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. That's pretty plain. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy power. This is what people need to consider. They make jeans especially for women that men cannot wear. They make pants especially for women. At the end of the day, you can't accuse a woman of wearing pants if they women pants, can you? You just against, the fashion of pants altogether. But women wore things underneath their dresses. I think they're called petticoats. I may have to look that up. And they were likened unto garments that fit around they buttocks and midsection. Let me see if I can find that. We may even get let's get an image of it. Petticoat. I don't know if that's the correct phrase. Let's see. Petticoat. Well, it really show a dress. But what's the thing underneath it? Let's see. underneath. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Some women wore slips and different stuff, but there's a garment that women wore underneath that was like pants underneath their dresses. Yeah, this is not it. So petticoat is really just a dress. Let me see here. Did women wear pants under their dress? Wear trousers? I don't know. That ain't the right word. You don't want to spend a lot of time on this, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, if you have on a garment like this, that's a more modern shit, but that ain't really what I'm talking about. This stuff was made out of lace. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time to try to look it up, you know. But at the end of the day, nobody's walking around condemning women for wearing, you know, because like I said, there could be a such thing as women pants. Was it like that in the past? I don't think so. But let's say that it was. What would you do then? Damn it. At the end of the day, nobody's going to be, like I said, this is not a righteousness contest. Let's read that again. Let's read it from the NLT. Let's get a few translations of it. And it says, a woman must not put on men's clothing, and a man must not wear women's clothing. Anyone who does this is detestable in the sight of the Lord your power. And I mean, it's going to be pretty much the same way, no matter what. So as long as a woman ain't got on men's, you know, straight up men's clothes, I don't really see what the big deal is, you know. And they, like I said, there may be women pants. As fashion evolved over periods of time, sometimes women may wear things that are the female version of what men wear, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Now this chick thinking that because she haven't heard nothing back, that it means that she right or she, you know, silent somebody. Well, it's not a big deal, and nobody cares really at the end of the day. It's a stupid thing for Jake to be arguing with people about, but you have that. And he ain't telling you nothing wrong. Don't nobody want no manly woman. No man wants to see a manly ass woman at the end of the day. But let's go right to the source and show you in Ephesians 2:1. Let's start here. It says, and you hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins. Now the word quicken means to be made spiritually alive. Where in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. See, this spiritual walk is much more than just your outwardly thing when I'm keeping this many laws, because there's a bunch of other laws you don't know about that you're constantly breaking. What about all those? Verse 3, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lust of the flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. We used to be the children of wrath. But the Most High, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Hamashiach. By grace are ye saved. See, back even during the time when you didn't know you was an Israelite, what kept you from being destroyed? You was breaking laws, you was breaking commandments, you were doing all kind of stuff. What kept you from being destroyed? What kept the Most High from destroying you? The fact that you were under grace. And it's the same thing to the women that wear pants or any other things that we do wrong. These different Israelites, you're attaining the message by pushing law. But you do that, why? Because you think that makes you righteous and others wicked. When the whole time, you just being a damn fool. Because as I said, there's 100 other laws you have no knowledge of that you break all the time. You probably keeping like the main 10, right? You don't eat pork. You keeping some semblance of a Sabbath, but you're doing that wrong more than likely. Because I have yet to see any Israelite that leads with the law, keep the Sabbath on the right day. You probably still keeping Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, and that's wrong. And see, a lot of them guys that lead with the law, they're getting their heads lined up, they're getting their beards lined up, all kinds of shit. All kind of stuff they're doing, right? But you don't understand by grace is how we're going to be saved. And if you go back to Ephesians chapter 1, which we're in 2 now, but if you go back to 1, Ephesians 1, verse 4, I'm going to start at 1. It says, Paul, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach, by the will of the Most High, to the saints which are at Ephesus, and to the faithful in Hamashiach Yahushua, right? So this book was written to Israelites among the Ephesians. Verse 3, blessed be the Most High and Father of our Lord, Yahushua Hamashiach, who hath blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in the anointed. Listen, according as he had chosen us in him before the foundation of the world. You hear that? The chosen, the elect were chosen before the foundation of the world. So you look silly when you sitting there arguing with people over the law, the laws they break, the laws they keep. It's really stupid. Especially when it comes to something like pants, wigs, stupid shit like that, because the elect is already chosen. Do you really think that if somebody is a chosen member of the elect, and the Most High already chosen for the foundation of the earth, but they wear pants, that he gonna say, nope, you know what, it was gonna be the elect, but this woman refuses to stop wearing pants, now I'm gonna stop her from being the elect? It's dumb. You just don't understand the Bible that much. And it's not to hurt us, to you stupid Israelites out there. According as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahushua Hamashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. See, so everything is about the election. And when you're chosen before the foundation of the earth, that's election. Now back in Ephesians 2 and 5, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with him, Mashiach, by grace ye are saved. And hath raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Hamashiach Yahushua, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace in his goodness toward us through Hamashiach Yahushua. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It ain't nothing you did. It is the gift of the Most High, not of works. What? Not of works, lest any man should boast. So the Lord took it out of your hands. He didn't make it because of how many laws you keep. Now, it just so happens that if he did choose you, you're going to exercise the works of faith, and you're going to keep the law to the best of your ability anyway. But you ain't going to sit there and argue with others about it because you understand that condition. So this renders what she thinks she found null and void. This point blank period is stupid. She thinks because she brought up the fact that the fashion laws are different. Well, none of that shit really matters. As long as a nigga ain't cross-dressing like a fucking fairy or tranny doing all kind of wearing women's clothes like that. As long as a woman ain't trying to, be a dude. If she got on female pants, okay, whatever. Even if a sister out there, you sisters out there, don't take this the wrong way. But if you happen to have pants, suits, and you wear some female pants or whatever, that's not the ideal attire. But at the end of the day, the Most High knows them that are his, and the reason why you're doing what you're doing. So don't get all messed up over these goofy Israelites. A lot of them, beating you over the head, sister, you cross-dressing. What an idiot. And I know that there's some Israelites out there that's stupid. You badgering people over that. Here, your black ass doing all kind of other stuff. You tiptoeing around the law, you breaking certain commandments and keeping others, but then you gonna beat somebody over the head over some fucking pants. Grow up, nigga. Grow your ass up. So if you're gonna be saved, it ain't got nothing to do with your works. Okay, per se. Now again, keep in mind that if the Lord chose you, you gonna do the works. As the scripture says, his commandments are not grievous. Let's go there. Is it 1 John 5? I don't know if it's 1 John 5 or John 5 and 3. Let me see here. Nope. 1 John 5. Yeah. 1 John 5 and 1. Whosoever believeth that Yahushua is the Hamashiach is born of the Most High. And everyone that loveth him that begat, loveth him also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep his commandments. For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. But the commandments are based upon what? Having faith, and the faith that keeps you to keeping the commandments. But you ain't gonna go back and try to trudge up every minuscule law, although we're in captivity, and it's certain ones we can't possibly keep. And very few Israelites out there can argue that you keep the law pertaining to the Sabbath correctly, because you don't. Really, all you're supposed to do on the Sabbath is worship the Lord, basically. If you do anything outside of that, if you drive, you travel, you work, you make purchases, you cook, clean, do any type of labor on the Sabbath, you basically going off, man. And you have no idea what you're talking about. So you should just close your nigga mouth at the end of the day. So we gonna be saved by grace, but we know that a lot of y'all ain't gonna get that. But I use this opportunity just to mention that. Cause two things about this video. Number one, people gonna gravitate towards it because of the title. Number one, because it said how to silence Hebrew Israelites. You like controversy, you're gonna come running with your mouth open, breathing out of your mouth, slobbering, hoping to see some entertainment. And two, because there's a woman in the thumbnail. And you fucking guys, even you women, you run and you know got your hands all clenched up, hoping to see some controversy. So therefore, I zinged your ass. Because a lot of you stuck on the law. And you don't even know how to properly keep the law. You should just shut up and learn more. And that's it. So a lot of you gonna watch this video. And maybe now you'll close your mouth. You're supposed to breathe out of your nostrils. Close your mouth. Try this. Just through your nostrils.